Good afternoon, everyone. In physiology, today we are starting with a new system. Very important is central nervous system. Okay, central nervous system. This is a brain. Where the brain mainly contain, we divided the brain into 4 lobes. It's a frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe and temporal lobe. Okay, brain and spinal cord. So the central nervous system mainly contain, it is broadly divided into two. One is a CNS, that is central nervous system, and peripheral nervous system. Okay, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. In the central nervous system mainly contain the brain and spinal cord. Okay, CNS refers to brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system include the nerves which is apart from the CNS. That is, so it will carry the impulses from various parts of the body to CNS. Okay, so mainly the peripheral nervous system from the various part of the body. Okay, part of the body, suppose a limb, from the leg or a limb, lower limb, so it will carry the impulses through peripheral nervous towards the CNS. Okay, so again in the peripheral nervous system there are two. One is impulses from the various parts of the body to CNS are termed as afferent, AFFERENT, afferent nervous neurons. Okay, or sensory neuron. So that is, so suppose you are getting a pain stimulation to your skin, the pain stimulation is there. So that pain sensory is a sensory stimulation, or through afferent neuron it is go to the spinal cord. So that is called afferent neurons. If the peripheral nerve that carry impulses from the CNS, okay, so from the CNS towards the part of the body. Okay, so from the CNS to all the other part of the body, so we call it as efferent, EFFERENT, efferent or motor system. Okay, so in the central nervous system, so mainly it is a regulating part, the brain and spinal cord. Then the peripheral nervous system, so from the parts of the body towards the center it is going, that is called sensory or afferent. And from the brain or the spinal cord, the some of the neurons which is going towards the body parts, so that is called motor or efferent nervous system. Okay, so this is about the introduction. So now we will see the how in CNS, so which are the different parts of the brain. Like in the brain, so we have a cerebellum, basal ganglia, hypothalamus. Okay, so many things is a limbic system. So each functions we have to study. Okay, so that is in the brain. And also from the peripheral nervous system, how the impulses is going to the CNS and how the impulses coming back to the body parts we will study. So first we will study about the synapse. So synapse is a very important, it is a functional junction between two neurons or between the neurons and an effector. So it is dependent as the functional junction between the two neurons. The neuron structure, you know, the neuron is having a dendrites, cell body and axon, right? So cell body, axon, so axon end, so there is the axon vertex. So these are the dendrites. Okay, so when like this, so it will this axon end, so it make a synaptic connection with a dendrites of another one. Okay, so this junction, so impulses, when this gets stimulated, okay, the impulses will pass through the axon and it will make a connection with the another neuron. So now through this it will, the impulses will be transmitted to another neuron. Okay, so this junction we call it as synapse. Okay, the synapse is the functional junction between two neurons. So it is like a nerve muscle, neuromuscular junction. So that is their neuron and muscle here between two neurons. Then everything is same. Okay. So there are two types, electrical and chemical. So in the electrical synapse, there is no gap between. It is a continuous. In the chemical synapse, a presynaptic neuron. Okay. So presynaptic neuron is separated from postsynaptic neuron by a gap. We call it as synaptic cleft. Okay, we call it synaptic cleft. So here a neurotransmitter is very important to conduct the nerve impulse between the two neurons. Okay, so what will happen? So between the presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron, presynaptic neuron is a neuron where impulses is carrying. Okay, impulse is carrying and it is transmitted to postsynaptic neuron. Okay, so here by releasing in the chemical synapse, it will release a neurotransmitter. Okay. So coming to the what type of neurons, neurotransmitters, transmitter is releasing, it may be acetylcholine or noradrenaline or adrenaline, dopamine. There are so many neurotransmitters are there. Okay. So coming to the component of a synapse, so mainly contain the presynaptic terminal, axon terminal, synaptic cleft, and the receptors which is present on the dendrite or a soma of a postsynaptic neuron. So why I am explaining the chemical synapse? Because in a human body almost all the synapses are chemical type. Okay. So next coming to the mechanism of synaptic transmission. Okay. So first what will happen, there is a arrival of a nerve impulse. Okay, so arrival of this is the presynaptic neuron, axons of presynaptic neuron. So this is the postsynaptic neuron of dendrites or soma. So whenever the nerve impulses are arriving at the axon of presynaptic neuron, so this get depolarized. Okay, so this axon get depolarized and release the neurotransmitters which is present in the vesicles. Same time the calcium influx is taking place, so the axon terminal will release or vesicles will release the neurotransmitter at the synaptic cleft. Okay, so this neurotransmitter will bind to the receptors which is present over, this is a receptor, okay, which is present on the postsynaptic region. Okay, so whenever the neurotransmitter is releases, which bind to the receptor in the postsynaptic terminal, okay, this is a postsynaptic terminal. So there is a change in the electrical activity of postsynaptic region. Okay, so here what will happen in the postsynaptic terminal, so whenever the neurotransmitter releases, so this neurotransmitter may be inhibitory neurotransmitter or excitatory neurotransmitter. Okay, so depending on this neurotransmitter, either the impulses will pass to postsynaptic neuron, either it will excite the neuron or it will inhibit or it will transmit the further activity. Okay, so only this is the change we can see between the neuromuscular junction and synapse. In the neuromuscular junction, so only the excitatory, okay, so excitatory neurotransmitter acetylcholine is releasing, but in the synapse the mechanism is same, but depending on the neurotransmitter release, the nerve impulse either stimulate or maybe inhibit. Okay, so we will see what is excitatory synapse. So also call it as excitatory postsynaptic potential. Okay, so whenever the neurotransmitter releasing which cause a sodium ions to enter the postsynaptic neuron, okay, so that time there is a depolarization of the neuron is taking place. If the neuron get depolarized, then there will be a excitatory potential. Okay, so if the neurotransmitter will cause the sodium ion to enter the postsynaptic neuron, okay, so that will cause a depolarization of neuron, that is called EPSP. Next on the IPSP, that is inhibitory synapse. If the neurotransmitter will cause the chloride ion to enter or potassium ion to exit the postsynaptic neuron, that will cause hyperpolarization of the neuron. So if the hyperpolarization is taking place, then it will be the impulses will be inhibited. Okay, the further transmission of impulse is not taking place. Okay, so this is the difference between the EPSP and IPSP. So next we have the properties of the synapse. So one is the one-way conduction. Okay, one-way conduction means, so from the presynaptic neuron, so always the impulses is going to postsynaptic neuron. Okay, so it will not reverse will not taking place. One way conduction, that is the neurotransmitter is present only in presynaptic region. Okay, so in the postsynaptic region it is not present, so the reverse transmission is not taking place. Synaptic delay, so here some time will be taking place for the release of neurotransmitter. So it may be release of the neurotransmitter from the synaptic cleft, or maybe pass through the synaptic cleft. Okay, so maybe 0.5 milliseconds delay will be taking place. Okay, next is summation. So summation is, there are two types of summation, so I will tell later. Then fatigue, convergence and divergence, excitation or inhibition. So summation means, here when the subthreshold stimulus is applied at the presynaptic region, there is no action potential is developed. Okay, or if many subthreshold stimulus is applied, so all the effects will be added up, that will lead to action potential. Okay, so there are again two types, spatial summation and temporal summation. So next is the excitation or inhibition. So here the impulse conduction across the synapse may either stimulate or inhibit the activity of postsynaptic region. So I already told. So if the if the neurotransmitter cause sodium influx, then will be excitatory. If it if it cause the exit of potassium, it will cause hyperpolarization, it will inhibition. Okay, so that's complete the synapse. Next, coming to the sensory receptor, we will start with the sensory system. Okay, so before studying the sensory system, so we will look after receptor. So receptor is very important. Okay, what is receptor? So receptors are a specialized sensory nerve endings. Okay, it is a nerve ending which undergo depolarization in response to specific stimuli. Okay, and in turn send information to CNS. Okay, so it is a, so suppose on your skin, so there is a receptors are present. So these receptor, so when it receive the stimulation, like we are touching over the skin, so that is a touch sensation. Okay, so sensation means there are different type of sensation is there, like touch sensation, temperature changes, if it is a hot or cold, you can perceive that this is a hot temperature, like that. So there are different types of sensation is there. Each sensation is having a different receptor. So first when it receives the stimulation, okay, so these receptor will get depolarized. Okay, so chemical changes will taking place, depolarize, and send the information to the CNS. So in the CNS or in the brain and the spinal cord, there is a special structure is there, okay, pathways, so that will convey the message to the brain. Okay, so hence the receptor acts as a transducer. So it convert the electrical energy into, or mechanical energy in the afferent nerve fiber. Next, coming to the classification. So there may be an exteroreceptor and interoreceptor. So extero means external, okay, which is present exterior part, like cutaneous receptor. Cutaneous means skin, okay, receptor which is present on the skin, so cutaneous receptor. And some chemoreceptors, okay, then telereceptors. So chemoreceptors means which respond for chemical energy, like taste receptors are a chemical receptor. Okay, so like that osmoreceptors or carotid and aortic bodies are chemoreceptors. Then the telereceptors, it is like a telephone, you know, their impulses are coming from far away. Okay, so like in your ear, okay, so in your ear the hair cells are present, right? So in your ear the hair cells are present. So whatever you are hearing, so that will cause hair cells to depolarize. Okay, here the hair cells are acts as a receptor for hearing in ear. Okay, so that is here the impulses are coming far away. Okay, then interoreceptors are present within the organ, that is visceroreceptor and proprioceptors. So we will see which are those, the exteroreceptors. Cutaneous receptors, which is like touch sensations, like touch, pressure sensation, the cold, warm and pain sensation. So all these sensation receptors are these. Okay, like Meissner corpuscles, Merkel's disc for touch. Pressure sensation is Pesian corpuscle. Sorry, this is receptors. Okay, this is receptor, this is sensation, this is receptors. So for each one, for touch sensation, Meissner corpuscle and Merkel disc, which is present over the skin, get stimulated. Okay, then Crucis and bulb, that is for cold, Ruffin's end organ for warm, and for pain it is free nerve endings. Okay, free nerve endings means unmyelinated nerve fibers. Okay, then chemoreceptors are taste sensation, smell sensation are carried by taste or taste buds, smell for olfactory receptors. Then telereceptors, vision for rods, vision, that is eye, rods and cones are present in the eye that acts as a receptor. Then for hearing, the hair cells. Okay, Then coming to interoceptors, there are so many is there. So visceroreceptors like stretch, baroreceptors and all. Then proprioceptors is very important for proper position. So means so you are when you are walking or your sitting position is there, that is that time. So these sensations will these receptors get stimulated. That is muscle spindle, Golgi and tendon, Pacinian corpuscle and free nerve endings. These are the sensation. These are the muscle, tendon, ligament, fascias or joints. So all are present. Okay, helpful for the movement of the limb, or maybe hair cells in semicircular canal and in the labyrinthine apparatus. So this is your skin. So over the skin, how the receptors are present. Okay, so Meissner corpuscle. This is Meissner corpuscle, Pacinian corpuscle, Raphael corpuscle, Mercalli disc, free nerve endings. Okay. So this is one of the interior receptors which is present in the muscle. So this is your muscle, skeletal muscle. Okay. So in the skeletal muscle, so when suppose you want to do your leg movement, okay, so that time the Golgi tendon is a receptor which is present in the muscle that get stimulated. So when you hit here, okay, in the knee, so this Golgi tendon will stimulate it. So the impulses through the afferent it is going to the spinal cord. So from the spinal cord it is going to the CNS, and from the CNS it is coming back as a efferent and cause the muscle to excite, cause the muscle contraction, the response. So this is the how. So as I told, so when you apply a stimulus, the receptors get stimulated. The stimulus, the activation of the receptor depends on the stimulation, type of stimulation. So if you are giving the pressure sensation, so that receptor only gets stimulated, and impulses to the afferent neuron is going to the spinal cord and brainstem. Then from here the second order neuron is going to the thalamus, and from the thalamus it is going to third order neuron to cortex. So this is the pathway, sensory pathway. Okay, so sensory pathway will convey the type and location of sensory stimulation. Means if the sensation, the touch sensation is coming from your left hand, so from there the receptors get stimulated, okay, and send the information to the CNS, and you will perceive that, or you will feel that is the sensation is a touch, and it is coming from your left hand, like that. Okay. So that's complete the receptor. So next topic is reflex. Reflex is maybe spontaneous or involuntary, okay, repetitive and purpose serving response for afferent stimulation. So it is a response to a peripheral nervous stimulation that occurs without our consciousness. Suppose you are going to, for example, you are going to touch any fire. Okay, if you are touching the candle light, okay, what will happen? Suddenly you will withdraw your hand, right? So that is the one reflex activity. Okay, so without your consciousness, if you touch the fire, so immediately you will take your hand back. Okay, so it is a spontaneous action. So next, it has one arc called reflex arc. So it is an anatomical nervous pathway for reflex action. So in whatever the reflex, for any reflex action to elicit it, that basis on the reflex arch, okay, should be intact. So in the reflex arch, which mainly contain a receptor, okay, then afferent limb, afferent neurons or afferent limb, then center, then efferent limb, and effector organ, okay. That means, so suppose this is a spinal cord, okay, is the center, okay, center may be brain or spinal cord, this is center. So here the this is the receptors which is present in your receptor. So whenever it take a, when you get a prick or this is a fire, okay, so this is a fire is there, any fire, so you are going to touch a fire, so there the receptors, the pain sensation, okay, the free nerve endings or pain sensation receptor gets stimulated, and through the afferent limb, okay, so this is the afferent limb, okay, so this is the afferent, through afferent limb, so it enters the spinal cord, okay. So next, spinal cord is the center. So then, so from here it is going to the CNS. So from the CNS, then there is the efferent limbs will be arises, and it is coming back to the effector organ. So you are taking back your head. So that is a component of reflex arch. So which mainly contain the receptor, then afferent limb, then the center are in CNS or brain and spinal cord, then effector limb and effector organ. Next, coming to the classification of reflexes. So there are different types of classifications are there. So important one only I will tell. So unconditioned reflex. So unconditioned reflex are present by birth. Okay. So some of the reflex, some of the example are like suckling of milk from the from mother. So that is one reflex phenomena. So that is by birth only you the baby know that how to suckle the milk. Okay, so that is unconditioned reflex. So nobody will teach you. Okay, so no one will teach the baby to suckle, or swallowing of the food, swallowing of milk, or swallowing of the food. So that is also one example for unconditioned reflex. Okay, that is present by birth. Next is the conditioned reflex. Conditioned reflex means which is developed after training. Okay, so after training, the reflexes will be developed. Okay, then monosynaptic reflex. So here only one two neurons are involved. Okay. The monosynaptic or polysynaptic, that is based on the number of synapses which is involved. Okay, so then apart from that, there is a clinical classification, so that is based on location of receptor. Okay, so these are some examples: superficial reflexes like plantar, abdominal, corner reflexes; deep reflexes like knee jerk, biceps, ankle jerk, jaw jerk; visceral reflexes like Maris reflex, micturition reflex, and defecation reflexes. So these are some example for clinical classification. Okay, clinical based on the location of the receptor, so it is classified. So next is the properties of reflexes. So all the properties are similar like synapses. Some important reactions time. So reaction time is time interval between application of stimulus and the onset of reflex. Okay, so it's a time interval between the application of stimulus and the onset of reflex. That means you are going to touch the, you are touching the fire, so immediately you are taking back your hand. Okay, so that time will be there, so little bit interval between time will be taking, that time we call it as reaction time. Okay, so these are not required. So that's complete the, so this is one example, stretch reflex. Okay, the stimulus here, stretch of the skeletal muscle. So you are stretching the skeletal muscle. So the muscle spindle which is present in the muscle or the get receptor that gets stimulated, and impulses going to the spinal cord, and from the spinal it's going to the CNS, from the center, from the brain. So the through the efferent limb it is coming back to the muscle. So what it will cause? There is a reflex contraction of the muscle is taking place. So that's complete the reflex.